Hello people, welcome to my channel. Happy listening. Ponniyin Selvan, Volume 1 Fresh Floods by Kalki, translated by Pavitra Srinivasan. Chapter 8 Who is in the Palanquin? A confused babble of voices arose from the men gathered in the courtyard, as everyone seemed to speak at once. Discussions, opinions, and arguments erupted in a dozen corners, and for a while Vandiyadevan was hard put to understand a single word or recognize the man who uttered it. Sambuvarayar, who seemed to come to his senses first, spoke up. Aren't we required to furnish Paruvetarayar with some sort of answer? His voice rang in strident tones around the courtyard. What is the purpose of arguing endlessly amongst ourselves? The night is into its third jamam as it is. The moon swims in the night sky. We must come to a decision quickly. I am plagued, if you will pardon me, with a doubt. Perhaps others harbour the same sentiments as I, came the hoarse voice that had spoken earlier. Should the Lord of Paruvul not object, I should like to voice it and seek clarification. It is Vanangamudiyar who speaks, is it not? Said Paruvetarayar, in a tone that brooked no argument. Let him rise and come to the light. It is I indeed, and here I am. I reserve my fury for battlefields and enemies, not those I consider my allies and friends. You may speak your mind without any scruple. I believe I will. The king of Paruvur lists certain crimes against King Sundara Chora Maharaja. But is it not true that some level the same charges against Paruvetarayar as well? Asked Vanangamudiyar. I do not say I believe it. Indeed I do not. But I should like to know the truth in any case. Pray enlighten me. What is the truth that you wish to know? This assembly is well aware of the fact that the Lord of Parvur married a young woman a few years ago. Sambuvarayar's voice cut in at this point, burning with anger. This is outrageous. I am sure I speak for everyone here when I say that we object to Vanangamudiyar's tactless comment. To address our peerless leader in such a way, to level such an accusation against our general, our leader who has our best interests at heart, is akin to blasphemy. In short, much as I appreciate the sentiment, I entreat Sambuvarayar to remain patient and allow Vanangamudiyar to ask his questions. There is nothing more poisonous than a mind riddled with suspicion. Far better to lance the boil and relieve oneself of unending doubts. I did, at the late age of 55 years and more, marry a young woman. I admit this with no qualms whatsoever. But when, my friends, have I ever declared myself an incarnation of Lord Rama in this Kali Yuga? Neither have I claimed to be an Ekapatni Viradan, bound to one wife. I fell in love with her and she with me. We found our hearts united and wedded each other according to ancient Tamil customs. Pray, is this a crime? No, not at all, rose several voices in unison. It was never my intention to accuse you of matrimony, my lord. Who amongst us has bound himself to merely one wife after all? And yet, yes, there is no reason to hesitate. Ask what you will. There is talk that Paruvetarayar listens far too much to his young queen, the Ilaya Rani. Worse, that he consults her even regarding affairs of state and royalty, that he takes her with him where he goes. A mocking cackle erupted in the crowd. Stop! Sambuvarayar sprang up again, voice shaking with fury. Who dared to laugh just now? Show yourself. What gives you the right to jeer at our leader? He unsheathed his sword, almost growling. If it is any consolation, it was I, admitted Paruvetarayar. Then he turned to Vanangamudiyar. Tell me, is it such a crime to take my lawfully wedded wife, who bears my tali around her neck, wherever I go? It is true that I rarely stay away from her, but to accuse me of consulting her regarding state affairs is unjust. I have not done so, and never will. If that be the case, I pray that Purvettarayan answers just one more question, and I shall pronounce myself satisfied. What does the closed palanquin, meant to stay within the walls of an Antapuram, do here? What is its place among those who are involved in discussing such serious matters as the succession? Is there anyone within? If not, whose are the bangles that clinked a while ago, or the throat that cleared itself? A strange, uneasy hush settled over the courtyard. Since everyone present had entertained Vanangamudiya's suspicions at one point or the other during the meeting, no ringing protest rose against him. Sambuvarayar's lips did, in fact, mumble a few words, but they were too indistinct for anyone to understand. Purvettarayan it was who chose to cleave the stifling silence with his strong, confident voice. An excellent question, and one that deserves an explanation. Be sure that I shall give it when this meeting is at an end. May I have half an arigai more? Surely my esteemed friends trust me enough to grant me this favor? We do, exclaimed many voices. We have complete faith in you. I assure you that I cherish as much regard for Purvettarayan as anyone assembled here, explained Vanangamudiyar. I posed these questions only because he bade me clear my mind. I swear, here and now, that his every wish is my command, and I am prepared to do anything to carry it out. Should I be required to sacrifice my life in his service, so be it. I have the greatest faith in Vanangamudiyar's loyalty. In fact, I am aware of every one of your trustworthiness and I cherish your regard. For that very reason, it becomes all the more important for us to remember why we chose to meet and come to a decision about several important affairs. King Sundara Chorar may live long and rule his empire as he wishes, but we are here to consider the possibility that the rosy future may not come to pass. If the royal physicians were to be proven right, if the comet in the sky proves to be a potent omen, it behooves us to decide on the rightful successor to the Chora throne. We request Purvettarayan to give us his honoured opinion on these matters. None of us would venture a word against yours. On the contrary, at no other time has it been so important for all of you to speak up and inform me of your views. At this juncture, I should like to take the opportunity to remind ourselves of certain events in the past. 24 years ago, the great warrior, saint, and pious ruler, King Kandaradittar, ascended the heavenly abode. His son, Madurantaka Tevar, was a mere infant, a year old at the time. It was for this reason that Kandaradittar wished to place his brother Arinjaya Tevar on the Chora throne and rule after him. We were informed of his sentiments by his devoted wife, Empress Sembian Madevi, and it was loyalty to our king that made us agree to such an arrangement. Unfortunately, cruel destiny did not allow Arinjayar to rule for more than a year. His son, Parantaka Sundara Chorar, was a strapping young man of 20 years. We, the empire's pillars, the ministers, aides, chieftains, lords, Kuttam and Kutram officials gathered, discussed the best interests of the country and crowned him king. There is no doubt that this was an excellent decision. Until 2 years ago, Sundara Chorar gave us no cause to doubt his rule. He consulted us upon royal matters and events prospered as before. Now, however, his health is deteriorating, and that circumstance leaves us with certain questions. Kandaraditya's honoured son, Madurantaka Tevar, is now an extremely capable prince. His piety, accomplishments, intelligence, and character make him an eligible contender for the throne. In the meanwhile, Aditya Karikalar, Sundara Chorar's firstborn, is stationed in Kanchi as the commander of the northern Chora forces. My friends, who among these two men is worthy of being the heir? I ask you to consider royal tradition and practice thus far, to consult what Manunidhi tells us. What, according to the dictates of fairness and justice, would be your decision? Would you choose Madurantaka Tevar, son of the elder Kandaradittar, or Aditya Karikalar, the grandson of the younger Arinjaya Chorar? Think, think carefully, search your mind and give me your opinion. Kandaraditya's son Madurantaka Tevar is the rightful heir to the throne, answered Sambhuvarayar promptly. That decision, my lord, is according to the dictates of justice, fairness, and righteousness. True, this is my decision as well. I agree, murmured the others one by one. Your opinion is mine. The Chora throne does indeed belong to Madurantaka Tevar. But such a decision, although easy to make, will entail enormous difficulty if it must be enforced. Tell me, is everyone here prepared to undergo any hardship to make it so? Do we swear to sacrifice our body, soul, and wealth in fighting for Madhurantakar's rights and to restore them to him? Do I have your assurance that you will all pledge yourself to this noble cause at the sacred feet of our goddess Durga? Parvataray's voice fairly rang with a new fervour. Silence descended on the gathering again. We are prepared to swear in the presence of God that we shall sacrifice anything to uphold Madhurantaka Tevar's rights. Sambhuvarayar finally spoke up. All of us do wish, however, to ask you something before we do. What are the prince's own sentiments? Is he prepared and willing to ascend the throne? Many are the tales of the piety of Kandaraditya's son, that he takes no joy in worldly pleasures and devotes himself completely to the worship of Shiva Peruman. We have heard too that nothing could be further away from his desire than to rule this empire. In addition, his mother, Sembiyan Mahadevi, does not wish it either. We should like to know the truth of such statements, if you please. An excellent question, asked at the right time too. I shall answer it in a way satisfactory to everyone. In point of fact, it ought to have been answered much before. I beg your pardon for not doing so. Paruvetarayar began with a preamble. The whole country knows that Sembiyan Mahadevi has done everything in her power to turn her son from the thoughts of the throne and towards worship of the divine. What neither the country nor its people know are her reasons for doing so. Should it ever become known that Madhurantakar wished to ascend the throne, Periya Pidatti feared that such knowledge would put a period to his existence. Ah, is that so? Exclaimed several voices. Indeed, any mother worth the title would wish her son alive and uncrowned rather than see him rule and be assassinated. Madhurantaka Tevar, to whom his mother's words are as sacred as the Vedas, duly devoted himself completely to God, spurned all worldly pleasures, and spent his time in worship of Shiva Peruman. For some time, though, his sentiments have been undergoing a steady change. He has begun to feel that he has a right to ascend the throne and to wish to govern the country in the best possible way. He is prepared to voice his sentiments in public once he is secure in the knowledge of your fealty to him. And what is the proof of this? Certainly, I am prepared to provide as much and more proof as you wish. But if I do, will you all swear to pledge yourself to his cause and rule? We will. The gathering assented vociferously. I hope no one entertains any further doubts? No, none at all. In that case, there is no reason to delay. Here is the proof you have all been waiting for. And I have an opportunity to clear Vanangamudiyar's suspicion as well. Paruvetarayar rose, walked majestically towards the palanquin in a corner and stopped beside it. My prince, we require your presence amongst us, he said in his humblest voice. Do step out of the palanquin and cast your eyes on these warriors, these pillars of strength who are prepared to lay down their lives to uphold your noble cause. Vandiyadevan, who had been listening to the courtyard conversation with all his ears from behind this pillar above the stairs, now leaned forward carefully and peered down. A slender golden hand, the same delicate rose-leaf complexioned limb he had seen that evening, crept out of the palanquin and gently pushed aside the screen. Except that what he had believed to be a woman's bangle was in fact a kanganam, an ornament usually worn by princes. The next instant, that face, the one that resembled the golden fullness of a radiant moon, appeared from behind the screen. A man with a form that rivaled the beauty of Manmadam himself stepped out, smiling at the warriors in the courtyard. Ah, wasn't this Prince Madhurantakar, the son of King Kandaradittar? His presence within a palanquin had made Vandiyadevan mistake him for a woman. He threw a swift glance at the fort wall. Was Arvarkadiyan, who had committed the same error, still eavesdropping on the scene? Tree branches shadowed that section of the fort wall, however, and nothing could be seen. By this time, the courtyard below was resounding with ferocious shouts and chants. Long live Madhurantaka Tevar! Long live the Crown Prince! Men unsheathed their swords and raised their spears and their voices to the heavens. Vetri Vel! Veera Vel! To remain here anymore would lead to complications. Vandiyadevan slipped away from the pillar, returned to his bed in the isolated balcony, and lay down. End of chapter. Hidden meanings and explanations. Manunidhi. According to Hindu traditions, the one who is at the head of mankind and created a set of laws and rules for humankind to live by. Manmadan, the god of love and a celestial being who is, according to Hindu mythology, the most beautiful being ever to be seen on both heaven and earth. Vetrivel, Veeravel, literally, may the spear be victorious, an ancient war cry which has its roots in the mythical battle waged by Lord Muruga against his demonic enemies, where he used his weapon, the spear, to great success. The end. I hope you guys enjoyed listening. Please like, share and subscribe to the channel and do comment your thoughts. Thank you.